Despite being something that's free to use, YouTube is home to a lot of really high quality indie animations. You've got things like Has-Been Hotel, Spooky Month, Catching Up, the list goes on and on. All of these are incredibly well made pieces of art that I would pay real money to see. For a while, I feel like Has-Been Hotel was kind of the face of indie animation here on YouTube, since it was easily the most popular, getting over 100 million views. But now, I think that's somewhat changed. Not only has Has-Been left YouTube, getting a full show on Amazon Prime, but also, a relatively new piece of indie animation has come out that ended up overshadowing Has-Been's already massive view count. I am, of course, talking about the pilot for The Amazing Digital Circus, which was created by Gooseworks and Glitch Productions. I watched Digital Circus's pilot when it first came out, and ended up really enjoying it. However, even with that being the case, I've never actually gone and watched Glitch's other projects, except for the MurderDrones and Gaslight District pilots. I'm not sure why either, as I've been keeping up with new Digital Circus episodes as they come out, and I think the show is great, so surely Glitch's other stuff is also good. So recently, I decided to watch all 6 of the pilots Glitch has made so far, to see if I'd be interested in watching their non-Digital Circus shows. The results were mixed. I thought some of these pilots were incredible, but others were just okay, and in this video, I want to talk about them to kind of see how much the studio has improved over time. So, without further ado, let's get started with Glitch's first project ever, MetaRunner.
My life is like a video game, trying hard to beat the stage.
An interesting fact about the MetaRunner pilot is that it wasn't actually posted on the Glitch channel. In fact, the entire first season of the show was put on SMG4's channel, with a compilation of every episode later being uploaded to Glitch. I thought I should point this out because I found it pretty interesting, and to be honest, I really don't have a lot to say about the pilot itself because I thought it was just fine. I wouldn't say it's bad or anything, none of these are, and again, this was Glitch's first project, but after watching this, I didn't exactly feel compelled to check out the rest of the show. MetaRunner is about Tari. She's a gamer. However, unlike in real life, calling yourself a gamer and having over 100 hours in a theme park game isn't something that would get you bullied in school, because in this world, gaming is king. That sounds terrible. I can't think of anything worse than living in a world run by Overwatch players. The best gamers in the world are referred to as MetaRunners, which is why the show is called that, and Tari is actually one of those. But we quickly find out that she doesn't remember her pro gamer skills, and it's implied that this is a result of her involvement in a mysterious failed experiment. The opening of this pilot is very jarring. One second the guy's talking about how sick gaming is, and the next this is happening. Eventually, Tari enters a building where she sees the MetaRunner doing a speedrun. However, for being one of the best video game players in the world, the speedrunner is not doing a particularly good job at, well, speedrunning. Like, she performs a glitch that takes her inside of a wall, but before moving on to the glitch's next part, she just kind of stops moving for a couple of seconds. That cannot be a very smart thing to do. In speedrunning, every second counts. Keep moving! Oh, and the speedrunner dies, so yeah. Once the speedrunner leaves, Tari decides to pick up the controller and play the hit game Ultra Jump Mania. At first, she sucks at it because she forgot how to play video games, but a minute later, she remembers her epic gaming skills and locks in. Everything seems to be going well, as even the speedrunner is impressed, but then, Tari gets sucked inside of the game! What? Okay, I will admit this ending is pretty interesting. It's a cool cliffhanger that hints at what the experiment from the beginning was about, but other than that, yeah, there's really nothing too notable about this pilot. It's mostly just Tari walking around the city as people tell her all about gaming and gamers. The animation and visuals here aren't great, but I don't want to complain about that too much since, again, this was Glitch's first project, and I can imagine the budget for this wasn't too big. After all, they haven't made the MurderDrones or Digital Circus money yet. That's really all I have to say about MetaRunner's pilot. I'm sure the rest of the show gets better and more interesting. The pilot is never the best episode of any series after all, but as we'll see later on, pilots can still be really good. This one is just fine.
I'm jumping hurdles, I'm growing up to be a big boy.
While I never really see people talk about MetaRunner or SunsetParadise, at least compared to other Glitch shows, I still knew that they existed. However, I was completely unaware of Ultra Jump Mania until I decided to make this video, and that's probably because it's the only Glitch pilot so far not to get a full show. That did not give me a lot of confidence going into this pilot, but I honestly ended up enjoying it quite a bit. Ultra Jump Mania is about Theo, the little coconut boy from the end of the MetaRunner pilot, who I assume appears more in later episodes of that show. I wouldn't know though. Theo's design made me think he'd be an annoying little baby that I would hate, but surprisingly enough, I actually thought he was a good character. I like how Theo just doesn't care about going on the adventure that Elder Tomato tells him to go on, to the point where he skips every obstacle. I thought that was pretty funny. My favorite little detail here is that Theo's TV just has a drawing of a crab taped on it. This makes Elder Tomato's threat of cutting the cable a lot funnier. Speaking of Elder Tomato, at one point he mentions a prophecy. Is that a Deltarune reference? I think it's cool how the pilot starts off with Ultra Jump Mania's main menu screen, and the Crab King getting a little boss introduction when he shows up was a nice addition. These two details help this video game world feel more, well, video gamey. The ending to this pilot is kind of insane because after defeating the Crab King, Tari, MetaRunner, and another Theo show up as the world around them starts glitching out. What does this mean? I assume MetaRunner gives an explanation as to why this happens, but I have not watched every episode of that show, so yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. I know I'm just kind of pointing at things I like and saying that was good, but that's mostly just because there's not a whole lot to analyze here. After all, this is Glitch's shortest pilot, only being around 9 minutes long. I'm not sure why Ultra Jump Mania never got a full show, but my guess is that it's because this pilot didn't get as many views as Glitch hoped it would. I could be wrong about that though, I don't know. I enjoyed Ultra Jump Mania more than MetaRunner, but I still wouldn't consider it to be anything too special. Again, it's not bad, and like MetaRunner, I can appreciate and respect the work put into it, but still, it's no Digital Circus.
Someone stop this criminal. This is not forgivable.
Apparently, the main character of SunsetParadise, Meggy, is based off of a Splatoon inkling, so I'm sorry, but I've put over 300 hours into Splatoon games and spent around $80 on Splatoon Amiibo. I am very biased and cannot say a single bad thing about this pilot. Except, I lied, because I think SunsetParadise's pilot is just okay. I'm sure you're very tired of me saying that because I'm very tired of me saying that, but don't worry, because I'll have pretty much nothing but good things to say about the next 3 pilots. SunsetParadise immediately starts off with Meggy fighting an evil Shadow Meggy, only for it to be revealed that she was just dreaming. This is never brought up again. I assume this gets answered in a later episode, but if that's the case, this part probably should have been put at the very end to kind of tease what's to come. When you put a scene like this at the very start of the episode, I spent the rest of its runtime waiting for it to be mentioned again. Anyways, Meggy is going on a vacation to Port Aurora, and all she wants to do there is relax. But unfortunately, her vacation gets off to a bad start, as Zoe the deputy closes down the ice cream stand she was at due to health violations. Then Meggy does some classic vacation stuff like committing crimes, until she sees a bunch of thugs trashing an ice cream stand and beating up Ori. Thankfully, Meggy ends up defeating them and saving the day. Awesome. Meggy is my favorite main character so far. I like how she's constantly on the verge of crashing out throughout the episode, before remembering that she's on vacation and is trying to relax, not crash out. Also, the Splatoon squid silhouettes on her headphones are pretty cool. Ori is very goofy, which I like, and I thought his conversation with Meggy at the end, explaining why he decided to be a deputy, was actually really well done. I think the art style here is cool, the two-dimensional faces look pretty charming, and there's a lot of fun, vibrant colors that sell the vacation vibe. That's really all I have to say about SunsetParadise because again, I think it's just fine. This was pretty much just an excuse for me to talk about Splatoon for 5 seconds. I really want to stress the fact that I don't think any of these pilots are bad, and I'm sure that all of these shows get much better as they go on. Okay, but enough of being boring and calling things fine, it's time to talk about something I actually really enjoy. It's time now to act, they're on the attack! A couple of weeks after watching Digital Circus when it first came out, I remember deciding to watch the MurderDrones pilot, and I didn't really like it very much, to be honest. So, with that being the case, I went into this rewatch with low expectations, but surprisingly enough, I actually really enjoyed the pilot this time. As of now, it's the only one I've talked about that's made me want to watch the rest of the show, which I haven't done yet, but I will. The first thing about this pilot that I want to mention is the animation, because it's really good, and the lighting here is great as well. The improvement in visuals from the SunsetParadise pilot to this one is insane. Anyways, MurderDrones starts off with the main character, Uzi, explaining why there's a bunch of robots walking around. Pretty much, humans created some worker drones to help them out with stuff, but then the planet core collapsed and all the humans died. Don't you hate when that happens? Now the worker drones inhabit the world, but unfortunately, the company that made them didn't want that to happen, so they created a bunch of murder drones to kill them. That's why the show is called that. The murder drones are blocked off from everyone else by some doors, but Uzi is sick of hiding and wants to get rid of them for good. In order to do so, she'll need to go to the other side of the doors to get a specific part for something she's working on. However, when she goes outside, she runs into a murder drone. Who could have seen that one coming? This is N, and he's the best character probably ever. Is what I would say if Rousey didn't exist. Since Uzi shot N with her gun, he's slightly broken and can't recognize that she's in one of the murder drones, so the two begin talking. Here, N reveals that he's a part of a team with other murder drones, those being J and V. J is a leader of the group, while V is criminally insane. Also, N has a crush on V, but unfortunately, he's got, as the kids say, negative aura points. I think this guy might be a bit too relatable. Anyways, V and J proceed to show up, rebooting N back to his evil murder mode, causing him to follow Uzi back to the doors, opening them in Dominus Rex style right before they close. Then, he kills everyone that works at the doors. Okay, so N might be slightly less relatable than I thought. Thankfully, after almost killing Uzi, N realizes that maybe murder isn't so cool after all. If only he had come to that conclusion 5 seconds earlier. Now that N isn't evil, he and Uzi go to stop V and J before they murder some drones. Once they do that, they decide to leave the worker drones area, and the pilot ends with Uzi saying that she wants to kill all humans. This is a really good cliffhanger in my opinion, because like, what do you mean you want to kill all humans? They got splatooned, they're already dead. Also, why is Uzi suddenly feeling murderous? My theory is that when Uzi killed Jay, she somehow went on to possess Uzi, and now both of them share a body, like Golden Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's, or Chris Deltarune from Deltarune. Is this theory wrong? Probably, I don't know. Who does? People that watch the full show, probably. This is easily the funniest pilot so far as well. Ultra Jump Mania and SunsetParadise had a couple of funny moments, especially the former, but for the most part, they weren't particularly humorous. MurderDrones, however, had plenty of jokes that actually made me laugh. Everyone's obsession with doors was funny.
My daughter is into doors!
I thought Uzi was an interesting protagonist, with her being the only one to actually want to put a stop to the MurderDrones, and I like how she's somewhat of an inventor. Her relationship with her dad was pretty interesting as well. The part where Uzi's dad has the chance to shoot N before he MurderDrones her, only to run away in fear instead, was a genuinely emotionally compelling scene, and I'm excited to see this get followed up on throughout the show. Overall, I was really impressed with the MurderDrones pilot, especially since I remember not liking it. Yeah, I went from thinking MurderDrones was lame to actually enjoying it. Now that's what I call character development. Oh my god, I really do have no aura.
Digital food, not in the mood. I do not even have my favorite shoe.
The Amazing Digital Circus pilot is, as of now, the most viewed thing Glitch has ever made, and it'll probably stay that way. 300 million views is an absolutely insane accomplishment, which begs the question, does this deserve to have that many views? Yeah, kinda. I'd say episodes 3 and 5 are much more deserving of that milestone, since they're genuinely incredible episodes, but those were actually the least viewed ones, so what do I know? The Amazing Digital Circus is about Pomni, a human that puts on a VR headset and gets taken to the Amazing Digital Circus. That's why the show is called that. The circus is run by Kane, a seemingly sentient AI that makes everyone trapped there go on wacky adventures. He also doesn't let anyone swear. This is Viffy-Pop's worst nightmare. I like Kane a lot. It's made pretty obvious that he has no malicious intent. He's just stupid and can't tell that nobody likes him or his adventures. I'm really glad this is the direction Gooseworks decided to take his character in. It would have been so easy and cliche to make Kane this super despicable AI that wants everyone to suffer, but no, he's just a silly little guy.
All sorts of other activities! These activities may include...
Anyways, Kane decides to do an in-house adventure that'll introduce Pomni to the circus and the other humans that are trapped there, those being Jax, Ragatha, Gangle, Kinger, Zubul, and Kaufmo. Before going on the adventure, Pomni and Ragatha decide to go check on Kaufmo, who for whatever reason is nowhere to be found. Oh, and Jax comes too, but he leaves almost immediately, so whatever. As it turns out, Kaufmo was missing because he abstracted. You see, in the circus, whenever someone loses hope and breaks down, they abstract, turning them into a black blob with a bunch of eyes that can make other people start glitching out. I think the reveal of abstracted Kaufmo happened a little too fast. The camera probably should have lingered on the crazy writing on the wall a bit more before it showed him. I feel like that would have made the reveal a bit more impactful. Abstracted Kaufmo starts beating up Ragatha, so Pomni runs away, before deciding to look for Kane so he can help out. However, while she's walking around the circus, she finds the exit. As Pomni goes through it, she sees something more horrifying than anything she's experienced so far. An office. That's where people with jobs go to work! While this is going on, Jax, Kinger, and Gangle are trying to get the glowings from Kane's adventure. My favorite part of this side plot is a recurring joke of Kinger screaming whenever somebody says anything to him.
My comedy mask is broken again.
As Pomni runs through the office, opening countless exit doors that just take her to more offices, she begins going insane, until eventually, she opens a door that takes her to the void. Once this happens, Kane shows up to take her out of there, get rid of abstracted Kaufmo, and fix Ragatha. Then, he reveals that he was the one who put the exit there, since everyone was talking about how much they wanted to leave the circus. He's so kind.
Ow! You parasite!
I really like the final shot of the pilot. While everyone calmly eats dinner, already used to circus life, Pomni just stares into space, expressionlessly, as the camera zooms out, revealing how massive the circus really is. This does a great job at showing the hopelessness of the situation. There really is no escape from this place. Also, Your New Home is a very good song. Really, I don't have anything negative to say about this pilot. My biggest issue when I first watched it was that Zubul was kind of uninteresting and didn't do much, but now that more episodes are out, I can see that was intentional. Zubul doing nothing in the first 2 episodes leads into them getting a really interesting side plot in the 3rd one that expands on their character and makes them a lot more interesting. Honestly, every character in this pilot is pretty one-note. Jax is the mean one, Gangle is the sad one, Ragatha is the nice one, and Kinger is the crazy one. This sounds like a bad thing, but it's really not. The pilot gives us a basic introduction to these characters, so future episodes can expand on them and give them more depth, like again, Zubul in episode 3. Besides, the characters are still written really well, and they play off each other nicely. I like the Jax, Kinger, and Gangle pairing a lot. Bubble is a character I always forget exists, but whenever I see them, I remember remember how much I like them.
I'm glad you asked, Bubble. They're small.
And what do they do?
They.
How do they?
Much like MurderDrones, the animation here is great, and I really like the lighting during the King dinner scene. Why does this look so good? The Amazing Digital Circus is a great first episode to the show, but in my opinion, it's also the worst one. The rest of the show is just that good. Watch it if you haven't.
That's what family means to me and my family.
The Gaslight District is, as of writing this, Glitch's most recent pilot, and in my opinion, it's the best one. I'll try to keep my thoughts on the Gaslight District brief and without spoilers, because it's still pretty new, and I think you should just check it out for yourself if you haven't. The show takes place in a world where everyone has eternal life, and lives in a place called the Gaslight District. That's why the show is. However, there is one person who can't live forever, and that's the main character, Mel, a human born from an angel's egg, as stated in a prophecy. Thanks to this prophecy, everybody wants to kill the human, which is not good. But Mel's father, Ken, is keeping the fact that she's a human a secret from everybody else. How does he do this, you ask? Well, whenever somebody finds out Mel's secret and plans on telling everyone, Ken and his crime family, the Smiling Dead, decide to pay them a visit, because you know what they say about snitches? They get stitches. Mel technically isn't part of the Smiling Dead, even though she really wants to be. So she devises a plan to go steal an angel egg from Paradise Lost, make it look like a human one, and destroy it in front of everybody. Obviously, while doing this, things go wrong. I really like the visuals for this pilot. There's so many fun and creative shots, and the animation is phenomenal. This is easily my favorite looking thing Glitch has made so far. My biggest complaint with this pilot is that sometimes it's a little difficult to understand what characters are saying, to the point where I had to turn on closed captions. That could be a me problem though, I don't know. Speaking of the characters, I like them a lot. Mel and Ken's relationship was really well done. I like the conflict going on where Mel wants to join the Smiling Dead, but Ken doesn't let her because he wants her to be safe. I don't want to spoil anything, so to be as vague as possible, I think the ending cliffhanger is really compelling, and I can't wait to see how it'll be continued in future episodes. I could say more about the Gaslight District pilot, but that would require me to spoil stuff, and again, I think you should just watch it for yourself. It's phenomenal, and I'm really happy that it got greenlit for more episodes. Hopefully they'll be even better than this one. In conclusion, it was pretty interesting seeing how Glitch evolved over time. The animation and writing in their projects have improved by a lot. Glitch is already working on a new pilot set to release later this year, called Knights of Guinevere, which I probably pronounced wrong, co-created by Outhouse creator Dana Terrace, so that'll probably be good. Also, if the rest of MetaRunner and SunsetParadise are a lot better than their pilots, then let me know in the comments, because again, I didn't really feel compelled to watch the rest of those shows after finishing their first episodes. I am planning on watching MurderDrones though, and who knows, if that's any good, I might make a full video about it sometime in the future. I want to talk about N some more. Now, if you excuse me, I've got to go play Splatoon 3 and fumble every other match despite playing the game for 200 hours. I am pretty much only good at Salmon Run. Bye I guess.